Amazing. Hi, you guys. Welcome to Thursday night's Heart and Body Naturals product information call. We're super excited to have you here and just want to say thank you for joining us. We know nighttime is busy for dinners and things like that. So thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. My name's Landy Martin. I'm your host tonight, along with these other amazing women here on the screen. Please give them some love in the chat. They help me with these calls each week, and I so appreciate these leaders. And of course, we have our one and only beloved Ivy Pruss, Dr. Ivy, on tonight. She's going to be educating us on the immune system. I cannot wait to dive into that. Before we dive in, though, I want to introduce you to our CEOs, Ben and Paula Scarcella, and our world-renowned formulator, Alexandria Brighton. Without Alexandria and without Ben's story, HBN would not exist. We offer exclusively the flagship product, the Healing Trilogy, and that is the product that Ben used to put his vasculitis, which is a rare condition of inflammation of the blood vessels, into remission. So with her help and her formulation, sorry, my slides, I'm trying to admit people, y'all. With her formulation, we were able to put Ben's vasculitis in remission, which is absolutely amazing. Of course, no medical claims. These are some of our manufacturer partners, and we start with pure raw ingredients. Again, we work with Alexandria Brighton, who's been an Ayurvedic medical formulator for over 30 years. She's a master herbalist and aromatherapist, and she's really well known for her amazing formulas and how they work. So this is just some information about that. Of course, with that said, any product that you hear about is not designed to diagnose, treat, prevent, or cure any disease. This is our new product. I'm so excited to announce. We have an energy detox instant vitality now. And y'all, this is like vitality on steroids, for lack of a better word. But this has like agave inulin and so many other cool ingredients that have been added to this. It tastes amazing. I got a sample from corporate and I've tried it. It's absolutely amazing. And our one and only Michelle Carroll trained on this on Tuesday night's call. And we will be covering this. Dr. Ivy's going to do part 1 and part 2 of the immune system. And then the following week, after we get back from the Poconos, we are going to be training on our new product, Vitality Instant Tea. But these are some of the things that it does. Pretty cool. All right, now we're ready to introduce Dr. Ivy Pruss, y'all. Ivy is a really good friend of mine. We've been working together about 5 years. We've been in this company together about 3.5 years, and she's absolutely amazing. I don't know anyone that has the knowledge that she does. She really is gifted and talented. She's double board certified naturopathic doctor, a clinical herbalist, licensed holistic practitioner. She has 5 kids that she homeschools. Crazy. Oh my gosh. I don't know how she does it, y'all. I don't know how she does it. She's been in this field for over 18 years, focuses on epigenetics and DNA. Teaching is her passion, and we are so blessed to have her here with us tonight. So I am going to go ahead and stop my share. And then Ivy, I think you should have permission to share, so you have the floor, dear.
Okay. Let's get this going here. Thank you guys for having me with you this evening. I always love these times together. It does just fulfill my passion of teaching with you guys. So we're going to go ahead and do a 2-part series. We're in this season where everybody wants to boost your immune system. So I figured, if you don't understand really what it is or how it works, it's going to be hard for you to know what to do to get the most benefit out of it. So here's a couple reminders for myself, just some general housekeeping. Although I am a board certified naturopathic doctor, I am not your doctor. And so please clear any decisions you decide to make for your health with the proper channels. Nothing I say is meant to treat, cure, or diagnose any disease. If you'd like to troubleshoot issues that are specific to you, you are welcome to schedule a consult by reaching me at helloepigenetichealth.org. And I knew this, I needed to put this in here. If anybody is a little bit visually weak, there is going to be an image here of an exposed tendon, okay? And that is coming up after the slide that says fascia. So fascia is your notice that the slide after that, it's going to show an exposed tendon. And so we're ready to jump right in and get started. So we're in this season right? We're in this season where everybody's talking about boosting your immune system and taking this or buying that or doing whatever. And the problem is that your immune system, we build that, we nurture that, we guide it, we grow it by daily habitual choices and daily habitual decisions. Okay. It's what you do here with this. When it functions well, you're doing a very good job. And when it doesn't function well, 99% of the time, we're doing a poor job. Okay. Other than rare issues that may come up or whatever, that 1% that we just don't have any control over. But basically, we are in control of it. Now, we're approaching the time where we're enjoying a lot less sunlight, uh, except my southern peeps, okay? We're moving into colder weather. We are going to be enjoying a lot more sugar. We're going to have shorter days, less sun, getting into a habit of maybe a poor diet, consisting of low or no cholesterol, no sulfur-based foods, that come from meat, poultry, fish, dairy, and eggs. We're basically going to have kind of like this season of less vitamin D consumption, which means less vitamin D production. So the result is going to be a very poor functioning metabolic system. And truth be told, statistics tell you that Americans spend most of our year already in poor metabolic health. So my opinion is that at the end of the year, this is the culmination of all of it. This is where we're going to see the worst of it. Why? Because we're jumping into a back-to-back season, candy season, cookie season, dessert season, followed by a booze season, and then we call it the flu. But this is actually what breaks the camel's back. So take a look to the right here. Look at some common ways that we wreck our immune system and type in the chat which one of these are currently accurate for you right now. Okay, people mistake the signs of illness and disease when symptoms like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, fatigue, but the reality is that the sickness begins when the following becomes normal for you: extended periods of stress, lack of sleep, poor eating habits, lack of exercise, being easily angered or triggered when you experience hair loss, low libido, lousy and inconsistent bowel movements, basically a disconnection from taking responsibility for the direction your life is going in, okay? The symptoms or symptom was your body's no longer ability to compensate for your behavior any longer. So most times we're borrowing from the bank of our health and taking out loans on stress, on sleepless nights. 99% of the time they're to pay for things that don't even really matter. So when you see people starting in their 50s through their 70s getting diagnosed with diseases, they've actually created the environment and nurtured that and facilitated that beginning in their 20s or 30s. Okay, so this isn't something that happens overnight, and I'm always amazed at how shocked people are with any negative kind of news, whether it's, you have diabetes or you have stage 3 cancer. And a lot of us actually think that it happens from one day to the next. But the reality is that we've been harboring this and growing this for years on end, 15, 20, 10 years. And so it's not something that happens overnight. Okay. It's something that actually took a lot of years, that we enabled it to give it time to take hold. Now, these are just immune system basics, okay? What is your immune system? Your immune system is the mechanism that your body uses to protect you against outside invaders, be it bacteria, fungi, parasites, and toxins. And now toxins, we have a couple categories. We have toxins made by our own cost of living, right? So our cells produce waste and they generate energy. And when we don't clear that out, it can become undesirable and do undesirable effects. Or they can be external man-made toxics. Okay, chemicals we encounter, pesticides on our foods, plastic, BPA lining, receipts, those thermal receipts, they're a killer. They're worse than drinking out of plastic bottles, or food additives. So we use specific organs in the immune system, things like our thymus, our bone marrow, our lymph nodes and vessels, our spleen and our skin, We have an innate immune system. This is our first line of defense. This is what we're born with. I prefer to liken this like going in with a hammer. There's no second thoughts, there's no discussion. It just goes to action and it gets the job done. Now, the innate immunity, which is what you're born with, this distinguishes and automatically knows self from non-self. So anytime a microbe comes in from the outside, your innate immune system already knows that it's not you. Then we have our adaptive immune system. Okay, this is completely different from our innate system. Our adaptive immune system consists of things, T cells and B cells. This is more like going in with a scalpel. This is precision assassination, if you want to, compare it to something. There's a lot of detailed communication that goes on here. There's a specific answer for every specific intruder, and these unbelievably specific agents, they know the intruder by name, they know what it had for breakfast, they know its hopes and dreams, its favorite color, and how to annihilate it. This is what we build as we grow. We live, we grow, we experience life, we experience different situations and different areas, we move around. These are special forces, okay? They are summoned and directed by our innate immune system if that innate immune system can't get the job done. Now, our adaptive immunity contains the largest library with an entry for every possible enemy. And it only needs one encounter to remember everything about that experience, okay? So our adaptive immunity possesses all of the know-how, all of the knowledge. What it doesn't possess is experience in hand-to-hand combat, okay? This is what we grow and we nurture through life. We encourage and we win every time we win sicknesses or illnesses and we get better. That's hand-to-hand combat. This is us getting stronger. It's like building muscles and going to a gym. Now, at birth, adaptive immunity is extremely immature and it's not developed, okay? It takes several years for that to develop to go ahead and deploy effectively. So its most important job is to make the innate immune system soldiers fight harder, stronger, and much more effective. So if your immune system is a police force, okay, your bone marrow is the academy. All of your cadets are going to come out of there. All cells come from there, hence the name B cells, because they come from the bone marrow. These mature in the bone marrow. There are cells that come out of there called T cells. They transfer from the bone marrow over to the thymus through the bloodstream. That's where those guys are going to mature. Now we have lymph nodes and the vessel system, okay? These are like police stations around your entire body. If you notice, you have a lot of these police stations, which are your lymph nodes, you have them very concentrated in areas of opening around the body. So cavities, your mouth, your nose, your ears, your neck area there. Anytime there is a physical point of entry, there's going to be, it's just designed that way. Our body is designed to have a lot of lymph nodes in those areas. We look at our reproductive area, these are areas where combat happens. And so we have the lymph nodes and the vessels. Those are the police stations throughout your entire body. Your lymph nodes are strategically placed throughout your body in very, very smart areas. You have Peyer's patches, which are a derivative of lymph nodes, except these guys are in the intestines, okay? You have your tonsils, small round pieces of tissue located in the back of your mouth on both sides. You have your adenoids, it's a clump of tissue located behind your nasal cavity above the roof of your mouth, and they're part of all of this lymphatic system. Once a pathogen is identified, the nearest lymph nodes, they go to work. They activate cells, they grow larger than normal, and they remain tender until the job is complete. Your Peyer's patches in the gut, these are isolated lymphoid follicles, the immune sensors of the intestines. This is how we identify between pathogens and commensal community that reside in our gut by the cross communication of Peyer's patches and your intestinal epithelium. We have the most intricate transit system, we have blood vessels that are connected to lymphatic vessels. Okay, so lymph fluid is rich in immune cells and signaling chemicals. These travel from the blood into the body tissues via capillaries. Your lymphatic fluid goes and collects pathogens or debris in any tissues, and then this fluid enters the lymph nodes to be filtered. From there, we have lymphatic vessels. Once filtration is complete, your lymph vessels carry this fluid towards the heart, where it's returned to the bloodstream for another trip around the body. This is just constant monitoring 24/7. Now we have the spleen, which is your largest internal organ of the immune system, and roughly 25% of blood that comes from the heart flows to the spleen. So as pathogens are detected, immune cells are activated and increase in number to neutralize this pathogen. So there's a couple of things that are missing in this graphic. Of course, there's only so many processes that you can convey in a graphic. So mucosa is missing from here, okay? What is mucosa? This is a magical coating throughout your entire body. And if you look here on the graphic, you're coated everywhere from head to toe. You have nasal mucosa, oral mucosa, esophageal mucosa, bronchial, gastric. We've got mucosa that lines all of our organs. It lubricates, it protects your organ cavities from abrasive particles or from bodily fluids like our very acidic stomach acid that we need for digestion. If we didn't have this protection from this mucosal coating, we would have holes burned through our stomachs and guts and every other place as well. You have more than 200 times more mucosa than you do skin. This makes it our body's largest protective barrier, okay, internally wise. Now, it's involved in absorption, especially in the digestive tract where it plays a role. In the uterus, it's called endometrium. This thickens to protect new eggs, or it sheds to clear unfertilized eggs. In your nose, mucosa is breaking down odors, taking messages to your brain, and it's catching microbes that you inhale all day. So mucosa has 3 layers. We have the epithelium, which is our surface layer. This is where cells secrete a very thick gel-like substance to protect your body from irritants, okay? We have the lamina propria. This is loose connective tissue middle layer type, where the epithelium attaches to, composed of structural proteins and molecules. It's got nerves and veins. It carries blood supply to the epithelium, all the while holding cells in place. Now, muscularis mucosa, this is the deepest layer of our mucosa. It's a layer of smooth muscle. It varies in thickness throughout the digestive tract, and it's more active in your stomach. This provides a perpetual motor function, which keeps your mucosa in flux. Your mucosa is always moving. As organs move and retract, your mucosa stretches and goes back with everything. This provides a barrier against foreign particles. It captures them in this sticky substance and it clears them out immediately. This contains immune cells, natural antibiotics, and I think that there's an unnecessary war on mucosa today. Everything is, eliminate mucus, but I think the problem comes from a misunderstanding, okay? Mucus is necessary for life. And we need it. We've got to nurture it. We've got to grow it, okay? Or it can't get the job done. Now, I think we're confusing activated mucus, like chronically activated, with thinking that's what normal mucus should be. People live normal lives without phlegm, right? But phlegm is mucus, but phlegm is mucus doing its job. Now, if you're constantly phlegmy and you've got that gurgly cough, or if you're an ex-smoker and you've got that traditional, smoker's cough that everybody can identify, and it's excess phlegmy, that's not what regular mucus is like. And that's not what your life has to be like. So there are things going on there that either the mucus can't get the job done, or the mucus is constantly 24/7 activated, trying to trap these things and move them right out. So I'm always amazed by that, where people, just look at mucus and they kind of demonize it and make it something that it's not. So mucosal disorders are identified as the following, and tell me if any of these sound familiar to you, because you might be shocked. H. pylori, that's a mucus disorder. Gastritis, cystitis, bronchitis, esophagitis, sinusitis, celiac disease, Crohn's disease, IBS, endometriosis, cystic fibrosis, leaky gut. All of these are mucosal disorders. So tell me now how important mucus is, right? And why does everybody want to eliminate it? When we don't have healthy mucus layer, these are the things that come and pop up, like H. pylori and the other diseases that I mentioned here. Here is that our little graphic to let anybody know if you're a little bit queasy. I mean, it's not a gory picture, but it's going to be an exposed tendon, okay? Because the other thing that was missing on that earlier graphic on our immune system was fascia. I don't know how many of you are familiar with fascia. It is a serious thing. It is no joke, okay? And so for you to get an idea what fascia looks like, the only way to properly display that is to have, an exposed muscle or organ or something of that nature. So here goes the tendon. That is fascia. That is lifted up above the tendon. If you guys buy chicken breasts and you are cutting the fat off chicken breast and you have this really thin layer, that is fascia, okay? Fascia is a system of connective tissue. It is primarily made up of collagen. It encases and it gives our organs and tendons and muscles and ligaments its shape and structure. This is why everything doesn't glob all over each other. This is fascia. It helps put everything in very neat, beautiful, tidy little packages. It neatly separates everything. It creates just perfect distinctions, perfect differentiation between things, okay? Nothing melts into one another, okay? Everything is perfectly separated. The facial continuum is the perfect synergy among different tissue, liquids, and solids. It is capable of supporting, dividing, penetrating, feeding, and connecting all districts of your body, from your epidermis straight down to the bone, involving all functions and organ structures. The way that you are coated with mucus all over your body, you are wrapped in fascia from your brain to your toes. It is woven throughout all of your body systems. It holds everything together. And this is what allows pain-free functional movement, okay? Fascia is constantly transmitting and receiving mechanometabolic information that influences the shape and the function of your entire body. It is directly connected to the brain. Have you ever been paralyzed by fear? That's fascia. You ever get that feeling that somebody is approaching you from behind and your little hairs stand up on your neck or your arms? You get those goosebumps? That's fascia, okay? You're watching a scary movie and that jump scare comes up. That's fascia that makes you do that, okay? Your fascia is constantly communicating with your outside world. If your parents, this probably happens to you all the time. How many times do you jump up from your bed because one of your kids came in at 2, 3, or 4 o'clock in the morning while you were sleeping? That fascia woke you up, okay? It's absolutely phenomenal. It is a sensor. It's your outside sensor communication between the world and your brain, okay? It is constantly sensing the outside world around you. When you wake up in the morning, are you stiff? That's fascia, okay? Our muscles and joints technically don't get stiff. It's the fascia around it, okay? And so in part 2, we're going to talk about the love language of fascia and how, you make it better and you make it the best that it can be. But fascia is made up of 4 different types of collagen, types 1, 2, 3, and 4. They're found in different parts of the body and they do different jobs. It's part of our normal immune surveillance. There's a lot of intricate immune communication that happens beneath this web of fascia in our body. It is just an amazing connective tissue matrix, okay? And so our last thing here that was not covered in our immune system graphic was our skin. Now, look at the beauty and the detail of this graphic here. You guys should notice by this graphic that you basically have bacteria, fungi, and little mites. You have them basically on tap. This is what your skin is covered in that you can't see, okay? Your skin is the largest organ and the most important physical barrier you have. It's your outermost interface between the human body and your environment. This is why we need to guard it very closely. Not many think of the skin when we talk about immune system, but you should. Many regional differences overlap in skin topography. Higher temperatures and humidity in areas like the groin or the armpits, or lower temps in extremities. This is our line of communication with the outside world. It is finely balanced between protection from harmful pathogens and bidirectional communication with our environment. For example, one family of fungi that we house as a commensal, community, it produces a range of indoles that inhibit many other yeasts or molds. We have sebum and free fatty acid production involved in pH regulation. So it also produces films and bacteriocins functioning in quorum sensing. The bacteria on our skin participate in a very intricate method called quorum sensing. They can communicate and tell within each other if our community is what it should be. And if they sense that it's not, they regulate epigenetics to secrete chemicals and certain derivatives to make sure that anything undesirable is not going to stay very long. Any passing by visitor, they're going to get, quickly kicked out to the curb if they're not something that should belong within our commensal community for our skin. Now, our skin contains the second highest, the first is your gut, but it contains the second highest number and diversity of bacterial cells, with as many as 40 different species per individual. 1 million bacteria reside on each square centimeter, the main ones being bacteria, fungi, and mites. The microbiome is greatly dependent on the production of antimicrobial peptides. Your bacteria produce them, as well as host keratinocytes and sebocytes. These are in constant communication with the immune system, and they are involved in wound healing. Now, our skin microbiome is shaped by many factors, okay? There's extrinsic factors like your lifestyle, your occupation, what your hygiene routine is like, what your cosmetic routine is like, okay? And then there's intrinsic factors, internal things like your genetics, your age, your sex, okay? This microbiome, it protects you by competing. And their goal is to take up residence and outnumber any other species, leaving very little space for them as possible. So our commensal community, like I said before, it practices quorum sensing. This is the ability to detect and respond to the population by gene regulation. So your bacteria can restrict the expression of specific genes to make sure we are beneficially populated by what should be members of our skin microbiome. So this makes it so that the bacteria and fungal and even mite varieties will only be those that are of most benefit to us. So this is the end of these slides for part 1 for me. And part 2, we're going to cover immune system do's and don'ts, how to keep it healthy, how to talk the love languages of these vital aspects that we laid down as a foundation today. And so I just want to thank you guys. I'll stop my share here.
Nope. Thank you. My mind is blown. I think everybody is. There's so many amazing comments in here for you, Ivy. Somebody had a question, and I was kind of curious, since if we have just a second, we can answer it. Shona was asking, is the bathroom run in the middle of the night fascia, or is it beginning of incontinence? Like if you're having to get up to go, I guess, pee?
Okay, so there's a couple of things that are going to come into play here. It really depends what's going on with the person to determine whether it's the beginning of incontinence, but that gut squeeze that you feel, that's your fascia. Okay, because our guts, our intestine is encased in fascia. And so that contraction, not only is that internal because we have peristaltic movement, but we also have an outside coating squeezing as well. And that, that is part of the process that helps wake you up. So yes, it's part fascia, but to identify whether it's the beginning of incontinence, I'd have to know a lot more about you to be able to iron that out for you.
Awesome. Yeah, because habits, things like that can affect, what you're drinking during the day, caffeine, all that can affect middle of the night
It does.
restaurant runs.
It does. It does. So I hope you guys were able to learn something new and get some amazing value out of that because I'm very excited to come back now next week and cover the love languages of those important parts that we talk about. Your love language of your skin, your mucosal layer, your fascia and your lymph system. They have a specific love language that they understand, and they only accept communication from you to them in those ways. And so they develop beautifully, they function beautifully, and we see a metabolic behavior that is very effective. And so I'm excited to come back and cover part 2 of that next week with you all.
Awesome. And guys, right after this call, Marcus Jones is doing a business opportunity call. If you'd like to invite anyone or jump onto that, he'll be live on Facebook as well as on Zoom. Also, I don't know about y'all, but like I have no appetite now after seeing that. So thank you. I need to lose some weight before my trip next week. Just kidding, Ivy.
It wasn't too bad.
It wasn't too bad.
It wasn't too bad.
No, and I'm amazed too. And I was thinking of products, like Sol is good for your mucosal lining of your intestines, and then the mucus, like excess mucus, I think black seed oil, right? Do you have any other, like the Vitality? I was just thinking of products that we have that can assist with, those things that can become problematic if you're having.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was going to cover that in part 2. So,
Perfect. Okay.
but yes, absolutely. There are things that show your mucosal system a lot of love because, like I said, you want to build it, you need it to survive. If you don't have it, obviously, this is where leaky gut comes from. Leaky gut comes from a mucosal barrier discrepancy where it's not there. And if your mucosal barrier is not there for your good bacteria to stick to and float around and do their job, well, then bad bacteria get in through those holes and in through those gaps. And so absolutely, Sol is my favorite. But I love it a lot for my liver too. And the Vitality is great. And then next week, we're going to talk about, things that will help you grow those certain things and how to, what would be a least defective way to address it if something should come up, because we don't want to obliterate it. We just want it to do its job. And we definitely, don't want to eliminate it from our life because we can't. So next week, we're going to cover all of that and get some great tips and some wonderful do's and don'ts and things that we probably never thought of. And they're so simple changes to make, to get really great metabolic behavior. So yeah.
So excited. I cannot wait for part 2. So guys, tune in same time, same place for part 2 next week. Thank you all so much for joining. Bye. Thank you, Dr. Ivy.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.